Alexis Bellino and Janssen returned to where they first met in celebration of 1-year anniversary. If you placed a bet on Alexis Bellino and Janssen's relationship not making it to the 1-year mark, it's time to pay up because the couple has beaten the odds. John and Alexis just celebrated their 1-year anniversary, and the Real Housewives of Orange County star wants the world to know it. She posted a sweet message on social media, teasing their upcoming wedding when she'll finally be Mrs. Janssen. The couple returned to the place where they first met, or as some could call it, the scene of the crime, a popular OC eatery known as the Quiet Woman. The restaurant has been a major topic of conversation this season, and it's not just linked to Alexis and John's love story. Shannon Beater also has a history with the place, and the business garnered backlash for a shady social media post in which it seemingly pledged allegiance to Alexis. That shady move might have cost them the patronage of Shannon Beater, but they'll always have Johnny J and Alexis. REOC's Alexis Bellino and Janssen celebrate 1 year together. Believe it or not, Alexis and her man have officially been together for 1 year, and it won't be long before they walk down the aisle. The RHOC star posted a photo from their first anniversary celebration, which was spent with friends at the Quiet Woman restaurant. The photo showed the group sitting around a table, smiling for the snap, with the happy couple in the middle. Janssen, where it all began 1 year ago at the Quiet Woman, noted Alexis on Instagram. "Who would have thought we'd ever meet in life? And within the next 2 years, I'd your wife." Alexis also posted other photos of her and John in the slide, including their recent appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and photos from their 9th-month anniversary when John proposed. Alexis is ready to forever be Mrs. Janssen. The RHOC star expressed amazement at how far she and John have come, from first being friends to being engaged. Alexis also hinted at the brutal backlash they've received since going public with their romance, claiming that being with John is easy despite the drama surrounding him. Speaking of backlash, it's the very reason why the comment section on Alexis's Instagram posts, including her anniversary message, has been restricted. However, the couple does not let any of that affect their romance. "Even through all the struggles the devil is throwing our way every minute, none of that matters," wrote the 47-year-old. "God is on the throne. I can't wait to forever be Mrs. Janssen. I love you, Johnny. #1-year anniversary, #wedding coming soon." The late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the Pacific Ocean as waves gently kissed the shore. Alexis Bellino adjusted her wide-brimmed sun hat, a smile dancing on her lips as she glanced at Janssen. It had been a year since they met in this very spot, a swanky waterfront restaurant tucked away in Laguna Beach. Back then, their paths had crossed unexpectedly, both nursing hearts that had been bruised but not broken. Tonight, they were here to celebrate the love they had built since that serendipitous meeting. John, ever the gentleman, opened the passenger door of his sleek black convertible and extended his hand. Alexis accepted it with a laugh, her manicured nails gleaming in the sunlight. "Still a charmer," she teased, stepping out and straightening her floral sundress. "And you're still as stunning as the day we met," John replied, his voice warm and steady. They walked hand in hand toward the restaurant, its modern design blending seamlessly with the rugged cliffs that cradled it. The staff greeted them with knowing smiles. After all, Alexis and John had become something of regulars since their first encounter. Tonight, though, they were escorted to a private terrace reserved especially for them. The table was adorned with white roses, Alexis's favorite, and a bottle of vintage champagne sat chilling in a silver bucket. The view was spectacular, the horizon painted with hues of orange, pink, and lavender as the sun began its descent. "I can't believe it's been a year," Alexis mused as they took their seats. "Sometimes it feels like we've been together forever. Other times it feels like just yesterday." John chuckled, pouring 2 glasses of champagne. "That's what happens when you're with someone who makes time fly. Cheers to us." They clinked glasses, the soft chime blending with the sound of the waves below. Memories rekindled. The evening unfolded like a scrapbook of their relationship. Over a dinner of fresh seafood and crisp salads, they reminisced about the day they met. Alexis, who had come to the restaurant for a solo lunch after a yoga class, had been seated next to John, who was enjoying a quiet meal after a morning surf. I remember thinking you were out of my league, John admitted, his blue eyes twinkling. Out of your league? Alexis raised an eyebrow, laughing. You had that whole surfer meets businessman vibe going on. I was the one trying to act casual while you told me about your nonprofit work. He grinned, and yet here we are. Their conversation drifted to their first official date, the road trips up the coast, and the quiet nights spent cooking together. Alexis spoke of how John had restored her faith and love after her divorce, while John shared how Alexis had taught him to embrace life's messiness. She's a firecracker, he often told his friends, but she's also one of the most genuine people I've ever met. A surprise gesture. As dessert was served, a decadent chocolate souffle with a side of raspberry coulis, John cleared his throat. There's something I've been meaning to say tonight, he began, his tone suddenly serious. Alexis set her spoon down, her heart skipping a beat. What is it? John reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Alexis's breath caught. Was he? I know what you're thinking, John said quickly, a sheepish smile spreading across his face. It's not that, yet, but it is something special. He opened the box to reveal a delicate gold bracelet adorned with tiny charms. Each charm represented a milestone in their relationship. A seashell for their beach walks, a heart for their growing love, and a tiny lighthouse for the strength they'd found in each other. I wanted you to have something to remind you of us, no matter where life takes us, John explained. Alex's eyes filled with tears as she held out her wrist. It's beautiful, thank you, John. He fastened the bracelet around her wrist, and she leaned over to kiss him, her heart full. Dancing under the stars. After dinner, they ventured down to the beach. The restaurant had arranged a private area for them, complete with twinkling fairy lights and a Bluetooth speaker playing soft jazz. John extended his hand. May I have this dance? Alexis laughed, slipping off her sandals. Always. They swayed to the music, the cool sand beneath their feet, and the ocean breeze ruffling their hair. The world seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of them under a canopy of stars. This is perfect, Alexis whispered, resting her head on John's chest. He kissed the top of her head. You're perfect. Reflections. Later, as they sat on a blanket watching the moonlight shimmer on the water, Alexis turned to John. Do you ever think about the future? All the time, he replied, his gaze steady. But I try not to overplan. I've learned to take things one day at a time, especially with you. She nodded, understanding what he meant. They had both been through enough to know that life rarely followed a script. Yet, sitting there with him, Alexis couldn't help but feel hopeful. Whatever happens, she said softly, I'm glad we found each other. John took her hand, lacing his fingers with hers. Me too. The beginning of forever. As the night drew to a close, they made their way back to the car. The drive home was filled with laughter and stolen glances, the bracelet on Alexis's wrist catching the moonlight. For Alexis Bellino and John Janssen, their 1-year anniversary was more than a celebration of their relationship. It was a testament to the power of second chances and the magic of finding love when you least expect it. As they pulled into the driveway of Alexis's home, John turned to her with a mischievous smile. Same time next year, she laughed, leaning in to kiss him. Definitely. And with that, they stepped into the next chapter of their story, their hearts full and their future bright.